Mr. Men, Little Miss, Pancake Day. It was Shrove Tuesday, and Little Miss Fun had been very busy organizing a Pancake Day festival. The first event of the day was a lesson on how to make a pancake. Pancakes are easy to make, started Little Miss Fun. You need eggs, milk, and flour mixed together in a bowl to make your batter. All her friends followed her instructions. Or at least, they thought they were following her instructions. But Little Miss Dotty got as mixed up as her batter. I think that's the wrong sort of flour. Next, give your mix a vigorous whisk, instructed Little Miss Fun. Mr. Strong's whisking was a bit more than vigorous, and Mr. Lazy's was a bit less. I think it will be a while before his batter is properly mixed. Mr. Tickle wound his arm up in a tight corkscrew, and as it unwound, it perfectly mixed his batter, leaving his other arm free to wiggle its way off to the other side of the kitchen and tickle Little Miss Fun. Take your batter, continued Little Miss Fun, and pour it into a frying pan. Little Miss Neat very carefully and very neatly poured out her batter, unlike Mr. Clumsy, who spilled his batter onto the floor, which Mr. Bump then slipped on. He in turn covered Little Miss Whoops with his batter, who in her surprise knocked the eggs off the counter onto Mr. Small's head. It took a short break and a lot of cleaning up before Little Miss Fun resumed her lesson. Gently cook your pancake until one side is lightly brown. Everyone was now keeping up with Little Miss Fun, and the pancakes were cooking nicely, or so it seemed. Now, said Little Miss Fun, we come to the really fun bit. We are going to toss our pancakes in the air and flip them over, with which she expertly flipped her pancake. It was at this point that Mr. Forgetful discovered that he had forgotten to turn on his hob. His batter was not cooked, and trying to flip uncooked batter is not easy. In fact, it's impossible. And messy. And what should also have been impossible was tossing 5 pancakes all at the same time. But not if your name was Mr. Impossible. Mr. Tickle's pancake flipping was a wiggly-armed wonder. And Little Miss Somersault flipped in a somersault as she flipped her pancake. That's flipping fantastic, chuckled Little Miss Fun. Mr. Strong got carried away in all the excitement. He tossed his pancake in the air with all his strength, which is considerable, and it punched a hole through the ceiling, never to be seen again. And poor Mr. Worry just couldn't bring himself to flip his pancake. The pancakes that had survived the flipping were now cooked and ready for their toppings. Mr. Greedy liked chocolate spread. Thickly spread chocolate spread. Little Miss Sunshine liked traditional lemon and sugar, which is my favorite too. Mr. Good was very healthy and had fresh fruit. Little Miss Splendid added caviar and served it on a gold plate. Mr. Messy made a sticky mess with sticky syrup. And Little Miss Fickle couldn't decide which topping to choose, so she added all of them. Finally, their pancakes were ready to eat. Wasn't it fun making pancakes? Asked Little Miss Fun. Not as much fun as eating them, cried Mr. Greedy with a chocolate spread grin. It was an all-round splendid pancake lunch, and the assorted pancakes were gobbled up in a moment, all except for Mr. Mischief's. Little Miss Brave was the only one brave enough to try a tiny bite of his hot chili pancake. Thankfully, Mr. Snow came to the rescue with his cooling mint ice cream pancake. After lunch, Little Miss Fun had organized a pancake day race. Everyone lined up on the starting line with a pan and a pancake. Well, not everyone. Mr. Silly didn't have a frying pan or a pancake. And Mr. Wrong had turned up for the wrong race, as had Mr. Muddle. The rules of the race were simple. The first frying pan across the finishing line would be the winner, but you also had to flip your pancake at least 3 times during the race without dropping it. Mr. Bump was not going to win. Mr. Rush was a strong favorite, but he ran so fast that his pancake flew up into his face. He missed the bend in the track and plunged straight into the village pond. Splash! What had first seemed a straightforward race proved to be rather more difficult. Mr. Nosy's nose got in the way of his pancake flipping. Mr. Good was too polite and let everyone go in front of him. Little Miss Quick was very fast, but hopeless at tossing her pancake. Mr. Slow was a very good pancake flipper, but too slow, and Mr. Tickle's arms got in the way of his running. It was a frenzy of flipping pancakes and flying legs as the race leaders neared the finishing line. Who was going to win? And then, suddenly, from the back of the pack, an extraordinarily long arm twisted its way between the runners and crossed the finishing line first. Mr. Tickle had won. To finish off her Pancake Day celebration, Little Miss Fun had thought up a final spectacle to surprise everyone. She had decided to make a record-breaking pancake. It was going to be the biggest pancake in the world. Earlier in the week, she had asked Little Miss Inventor to invent a giant pancake flipper, which was not what Mr. Wrong imagined it was. No, it was an ingenious contraption that flicked a giant frying pan and could flip Little Miss Fun's record-breaking pancake. But would it work? Once one side was cooked, Little Miss Inventor released the catch, and the giant pancake rose high into the air. Everyone held their breath. The giant pancake twisted and flipped in midair. Everyone gasped. The giant pancake came back down and neatly fell on Mr. Tall's head. Everyone groaned, but not all was lost. Mr. Tickle's long arm came to the rescue. With a flick of his wrist, he flipped the pancake off Mr. Tall and into the frying pan, where it cooked to perfection. The biggest pancake in the world. And it took the longest arm in the world to reach across and cut a slice for everyone.